Our nation faces real energy challenges. While abundant, alternative energy sources surround us, Lockheed Martin has a broad portfolio of alternative energy generation solutions: solar energy, wave power, ocean thermal energy conversion, and synthetic fuels.
Welcome to the Green Utility Webcast. My name is Michael Burr. I'm the Editor-in-Chief of Public Utilities Fortnightly magazine. On the line with me today is contributing editor Stephen Anderson. Hello, Steve.
Hi, Michael.
Steve is working on a story about wave power, using the ocean waves to generate electricity. Now, I gather this isn't necessarily a new idea, but it's gaining some traction in the search for alternative energy sources. Steve, I understand that you talked with an executive at PNGC Power, Kevin Watkins. They're a G&T cooperative in Portland, Oregon. So what does a cooperative in Portland have to do with wave power?
Well, this is an interesting technology. You say it's not a new idea, but it's certainly new in terms of actual implementation. This is going to be the first utility-based installation in North America. And PNGC is kind of uniquely situated to take advantage of wave power. They are obviously located on the Pacific coast. Their service area covers, I think, 7 states, but it's primarily Oregon and Idaho. And their population centers are, of course, mostly along the coastline. However, they've got some transmission constraints east to west and north to south. So adding renewables that are close and easy to integrate to their grid make a lot of sense. And waves, at least theoretically, seem like they are going to be more predictable than some of the more volatile wind that you get in that part of the country.
I wonder why would that be?
Well, the waves that we're talking about are ocean swells. This is the waves that form hundreds of miles out at sea from the wind moving over the surface of the water. And those waves aggregate over vast distances into fairly predictable swells. And they pretty much go all year round. I mean, some days they're bigger than others, but it's not like a situation where you have in the Columbia River Gorge where the wind, while very powerful, is extremely intermittent. It might be blowing a gale or it might be a dead stop, and that can create integration problems for the grid.
Interesting. Okay. So what's the background on this project? Who's paying for it and why, basically?
Well, that's actually an interesting question. Now, the only thing I have the numbers for is the first buoy, which is going to go into the water in September of this year. That's going to cost about $12 million, and $7 million is coming from private capital. $4.4 million is coming from the Department of Energy, about $800,000 from the state of Oregon, and a little bit from the utility itself. It's interesting to me that the lion's share is coming from investors, because clearly that means that they see some real potential in this technology. It's not just a classic pilot program that might be window dressing.
I understand that it's the first project in the United States, but what about elsewhere in the world?
Well, there are a lot of these things popping up right now. Ocean Power Technologies, the company that's developing the Oregon project, is also putting in a similar scale project off of the Spain coast. That's going in the water right now. It's about 1.4 megawatt installation, 10 buoys, grid connected. But as I say, that's not online yet. There are other projects in the works in Scotland, in England, in Japan. But this is stuff that's really kind of getting into the real world as we speak.
So what are the siting limitations for something like this? You mentioned a few different locations around the world for it. Could you just put it pretty much anywhere in the ocean, or do the conditions have to be just right?
Well, there's several considerations there. I mean, the quality and frequency of waves is not the same everywhere. OPT has a map of what they consider attractive wave energy resources. It's pretty much the entire west coast of North America, the southern part of the west coasts of South America, and the east coast of South America, South Africa, the east and west of Australia, Japan, specific parts of the world seem to have a higher quality resource.
Right. Surfing locations, Waikiki Beach,
well,
good location.
Actually, an issue. Oregon is a place where you have a lot of environmentalists, so the permitting process has been a real hurdle. And it has included the surfers as well as, crabbers and fishermen and other people who are interested in the ocean. So there's kind of a sweet spot. Too close to the shore, you're going to interfere with public recreation, crabbing, things like that. Too far out to sea, you're in the way of the fisheries and shipping lanes. So it's really that, 2 to 10 miles out where it seems to be the optimal location. In a way, that's a good thing because that's going to be the easiest place to connect it to the grid. There's also the depth of the ocean. These things are about 150, 170 feet tall. About 30 feet of that sticks out of the ocean. So you need to be deep enough to accommodate the buoys, but not so deep that mooring them becomes a real practical concern.
Right. Okay. So what do these things cost on a per megawatt basis of capacity, as well as the output cost for electricity? How does it compare to other renewable energy sources?
They just don't know. I mean, that's a lot of what these first installations are going to be studying. For one thing, they're going to be gathering data on the waves themselves, just exactly what the frequency is. Most of the data out there is fairly rudimentary, but there's all the cost factors that until you've got these things in the field, you're not going to know. How the maintenance issues play out, what the cost per watt's going to be. That's all what these first programs are looking to provide answers for.
Right. So they really are early stage demonstration projects, but at 1.5 megawatts of capacity, that's a pretty good sized demonstration.
Exactly.
So I've always thought that ocean power seemed like a neat idea, but not really something that could scale up necessarily. It seemed like kind of a novelty. I'm wondering, is that wrong? Is it scalable? Can it really make a difference in the big picture?
Well, that's the assumption. PNGC has a statement that just 0.2% of the ocean could provide power for the entire planet. Harnessing it, of course, is the real rub, but I don't think anybody would be putting this kind of resources into it if they didn't see this as a utility scale potential down the road.
Interesting. Okay. Well, sounds like surf's up.
Indeed.
All right. Well, I think we probably covered it. Thanks very much for your time.
Thank you, Michael.
All right. Talk to you later, Steve.